Hey, welcome back into our next lesson on risk management and trading our plan. Okay. I want to let you guys know how I view risk. So I do it a little bit differently than most people. I learned it from the options market. So, and my 40 students know how I do this, but basically when I was trading options, um, I learned from a mentor who's multimillionaire, and I'd always see his account balance, and it'd be around 2-3 grand at most, and that's what he was willing to risk when he was putting a trade idea together. So let's say he wanted to short Tesla puts or something, or short Tesla, he'd buy some puts. Um, with his plan, his whole game plan, he'd approach the charts like, this is where I'm getting in, this is where I'm getting out. And he would do it, right? And he would take, the 2-3K account in a matter of a couple hours, it'd be around 100 grand or so. Then with the 100 grand, he'd go in and find his next trade idea, right? So his max risk was 2 to 3K, but he had all that upside, even though he could easily deposit 100 grand into an account and, try to trade that. It's just a different way to manage risk. So for me personally, when I'm trading an account, I'm starting anywhere from 200 to 500 bucks, and then flipping that to 5 to 10K. I'm gonna try to do that within a week, and then cash out, and then start the process over again. Other people, if they want to leave their money in their account, and that's how they do it. But this allows me to use my maximum risk, which is around 20%, unless I'm doing a full margin like account flip, where I'm trying to flip an account to an enormously large number. Then it's kind of a different story. Okay, so for example, if I'm starting with, let's say, even $100 account, my max risk is 100 bucks, and I'm trying to grow the $100 account, basically utilizing the leverage that's provided by the broker and being able to grow that account based on high quality setups. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Utilizing our compounding plan. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch the screen over. Let me resize this real quick. Okay. So this is the pretty much the medium between these two, and I'll explain these two trade plans. And I'll post these in the group, or in the private channel. Okay, with this trading plan, which is for the NAS or the US30, whichever one you want, you're starting your balance with 200 bucks here. Trade one, 200 bucks. Your lot size is going to be a 0.02. SL max is 25 pips. Okay, so the max loss I'll ever take is 25 pips, 25 points. And my profit target is only 100 bucks. Okay, so I'm risking 50 for the 100. Okay, but remember, my initial balance is 200 bucks. So this is my initial risk. So if I lose this entire account, I'm really only losing 200 bucks. Trade two takes us to 300. Trade three takes us to 450. Trade four, 650, and so on and so forth. Okay. So as I'm progressing through this spreadsheet, what I'm doing is I'm working the trades down. I'm finding the highest quality setups, obviously on a scalping basis, because scalping for 50 pips is pretty simple. And I'm just working my way through the trades. Now, let's say I take a loss, I just move back down one. Okay. So if I lose this trade, I just go back to 650. If I lose this trade, I just go back to 450. Okay. So I'm always progressing through the charts. So as I'm taking a step back, taking a step forwards, taking step backs, and forwards, until you complete the spreadsheet, and your balance should be around this number. Okay. High risk compounding. Okay, so this is obviously high risk, but it depends on your risk tolerance. So if 200 bucks isn't really anything to you, then this isn't going to be, that big of a boo-boo if you take a loss. When you lose a trade, start with the previous trade's lot size. So if I lose one, I go back, and I go back to my 0.06, right? Use a max of a 25 pip SL. It can be smaller if the trade calls for it. So if your trade doesn't call for a 25 pip SL and calls for a 10 pip SL, then we only use a 10 pip SL. Okay. But the max amount that I'm allowed to use is 25. So you have to find setups that are less than this. Highly suggest using one setup that's been proven to work over and over again, which will teach you the setups. It's not about how quick you get to the end, it's how many quality setups you get. Okay, so a lot of people, when they trade, is they're always they're thinking about how much they can make in a day. Like, I want to make 1,000 a day or whatever, but they're not thinking of the bigger picture. Okay, this is the bigger picture. This can be done in a couple days. It could take a couple months, okay, depending on how skilled you are. And if it takes a couple months, I don't think anybody would be mad about this from $200 balance. Okay, if it took a week, I'm pretty sure you'd be enthralled. If your trade goes for more profit, still use the next trade's lot size unless the balance of the next trade is met. Okay, so you're always trying to aim for the next balance. So if you have a setup that permits you to go from 5 to 7, right? So where your trade will get you to this number, then you can take that trade and skip 6 and just go straight to 7. If you decide to start without a $200 balance and start from a $1,400 balance, then you start from trade 6. Okay, simple. Now this is a medium between these two. Okay, so this is a slower growth account. So when you kind of want to be more conservative, but you still want to work your way through the spreadsheet, with this one, you're starting with a $100 balance with a 0.01 lot size. Basically, the lot size increases for every $100 you have. So for a 0.01, you're taking, for a $100 balance, taking 0.01. For a $250 balance, 0.02. 550, 0.03. 1,000 is 0.04. Okay, so we're just increasing the lots as we progress. Okay, basically this is aiming for 150 pips. So you're probably going to take a little bit more losses on this one, but you're aiming for these 150 pip goals. Okay, so it's basically kind of like a 1 to 5R. Okay, and you're risking max 30 points here. So this obviously can be lower. So 150 points per trade should get you around, on trade 17, the $20,000 mark. But when you trade this plan, just know it's going to be a little bit slower, but you're going to feel a lot better because it's a slower growth. You're not going to these crazy lot sizes like these. Okay. Now this is the very aggressive approach on the other side of this column here, starting with a $100 balance, 0.01s, and then it's 0.02. So we work your way down. You can see that, around $250,000 around trade 10. Okay, and this is when you really need the market conditions to be right. And I'll explain market conditions in another lesson. But this is this is pretty much full leverage. Okay, so you're going full margin on every single trade. But if you look at this compounding plan, it only takes you 10 trades to get to $250,000. Okay, max risk, max risk, max risk. This is still targeting the 150 points. Okay, it's just a difference when you get to trade 5. Here on trade 5, you're at 0.03. Here on trade 5, you're at 0.05. Okay, and when you get to 1,300, you're at a 0.13, 0.32, 0.8, 2 lot, 5 lot, 10 lot, 27 lot. Okay, that was a very, very aggressive approach. It's not impossible. We have students that have accomplished this number. So, okay, so that's how we work the trade plan. You just work down the street, and let's say you lose your initial balance. Let's say you lose trade 1, and you're going to lose $50, okay, on trade 1. So your account balance will be 150. Now you can choose to either go to this compounding plan, or you just top up your balance back to 200. Okay, simple. Okay, what to do when you blow an account? You just re-up. That's it. Blowing accounts happens. Okay, that's just part of the game. If you have a large account, and this is why you don't want to be using like a $5,000, $10,000 account. Okay, especially if your mindset's not there for it. If you're willing to blow $100, $200, And you can use this strategy to make a dent. I mean, this is the plan that I use every day. So full margin versus compounding. Like I said, full margin is where you're literally using all your leverage on each position. Compounding is that slower one where we're just compounding the account slowly, but it's not necessarily slowly, it's just less risk involved. Okay. Next lesson will be the tools you need to trade our system. Also, I want to mention when you're trading, depending on your broker, you have to look at your contract size. So if you have a 0.01, that's $1 per point. If you have 100 contract size, if you have less than that, then it's going to be like if you have a 10 contract size, then it's going to be a 0.1 would be equal to a 0.01. So a 0.1 would be $1 per tick. Okay. And I'll see you guys in the next one.